Hi everybody, this is Mr. Walden, and today we're going to make some dragon eye drawings. I'm going to start by using a pencil and drawing a circle in the middle of the paper. This will become the iris, or the colored part of the eye. Now I'm going to place some kind of V-shaped lines on both the right and the left of that circle. Now, following the curve of both the top and the bottom, I'm going to add an upper eyelid that goes slightly over that circle I drew, and a lower eyelid that is going to be right under it, that circle that I drew. Now, I think dragons are kind of like lizards, and lizard eyes don't really look like round like our eyes. I mean, some of them do, but generally their pupils are vertical and kind of fun shapes. So play with the shapes. You can get creative when you make the shape of the pupil. Now I'm going to follow the curves I've already drawn on this part of the eye, and I'm going to make a shape around the eye. And then I'm going to do that again and again. When I get to a place where the lines I'm making are hitting the side of the paper, that's fine. I can just go right off the side of the paper and then just pick it up where it would come over on the other part of the paper. And I'm just going to keep doing this till I fill up the paper. Now I'm going to add some scales to my dragon eye to give it some texture. The word texture means how something feels. Textures can be smooth, prickly, furry, or a lot of different things. Visual texture in art, in painting and drawing and that kind of stuff, is when the marks make it look like something has a real texture. We're going to use the concept of texture and visual texture in this project. So I am just going to kind of separate some areas on each layer here where my scales would be. I'm not getting too detailed right yet because we are going to be coloring these. Now first I'm going to color in that pupil. I'm going to color it black. Using oil pastels. We're using oil pastels instead of crayons this time because we are going to do some blending of colors. Now I'm going to fill in the rest of that circle that I made for the eye. I am choosing yellow, but there is no reason you would have to. You can choose a color that makes sense to you. Now on the outside of the eye, I'm putting in some orange because I am going to make what is called a gradient. A gradient is when one color slowly changes to another color. We're going to make gradients in these eyes, and we're going to use oil pastels to do it. So I am using a paper towel here, but some people just use their fingers. I sometimes do that too. And I am pulling some of that orange away from the sides of that circle and pulling it into the yellow. This is going to create a gradient. It's going to slowly change from orange to yellow. This will make the eyes look more interesting. I also blended in a little bit of white here. I'm going to color in the eyelids. And I think I'm going to blend in a little bit of white in the middle of my eyelids to make another gradient. Now I am going to pick two different colors. I would pick colors that were kind of close to each other on the color wheel. I am going to choose a blue and a green pastel for this part. You choose the colors that you would like. And I am going to start coloring in my scales. One side I'm going to color with one color, and the other side I'm going to color with another color. On the left side of my scale, I'm going to color with blue. On the right side of my scale, I'm going to color with green. Now in the middle, I'm going to do blending again. I'm going to pull some of that color from one side to the other side, so I get a slow, gradual change from blue to green. Then I'm just going to repeat this process for every scale on the paper. I'm going to put one color on the left for each scale, and then in that same scale, I'm going to put another color on the right. In the middle, I'm going to blend them together by kind of smudging the colors with either my fingers or with the paper towel, whatever feels better for you. I did both when I did this. And I'm just going to continue doing that process until I cover the entire paper. until I cover each scale with a gradient where one color slowly changes into another color. Now, this can take some perseverance, so stick with it. And if you do, I think you'll be really happy with what you come up with. When I made mine, I made the scales closer to the eyeball, smaller, and then they got bigger as they went out to the outsides of the page. Maybe you want to try something like that. But stick with it, making little gradients over and over again in all of the scales, giving it texture. So it looks like you can feel it. That's what texture means. This is what makes the oil pastels fun to work with, the blending. It's something you can't do with other media like crayons or something, and it really gives a cool effect. So stick with it. No great art masterpiece was ever made by a lazy artist, so we've got to put some work in. It will go faster as you keep going. You kind of develop a rhythm here. And you'll finish your scales faster as you move through the piece of art. But once again, I am putting one color on the left side of my scales, and I am putting another color on the right side. In the middle, I am blending those two colors together to make a gradient. And that is what creates our texture for these dragon eyes. They really look fantastic when they're done. And I think you will be happy with what you've done. And it's really not that hard to do. So, again, stick with it. A little bit of extra time here is going to make all the difference in the world. And I promise you, you will be happy with what you come up with. Now, once you finish coloring all the scales, take some black oil pastel, and I am going to find each individual scale, outlining it. This is kind of going to bring it all together and really make it pop. So I really hope you like making your dragon eyes. I hope you like using oil pastels and making gradients by blending. I'm also blending a little black into the white parts of the eye up at the top, and I added a tear duct. I can't wait to see yours. Have fun with it.